y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be going over the best and the worst from Too Faced. So this ranges from eyeshadow palettes to blushes to bronzers, pretty much everything in between. If you want to know what my best and worst are from Too Faced, then just keep watching. So we're just going to jump right in. I have the things that I think are the best and then things that I think are the worst, and then we're just going to go through the best and then we'll go through the worst, but in no particular order in each category. So starting out, I'm just going to start with this one here because it's right in front of me. This is the Chocolate Gold palette, and this palette just came out, I say just came out, within that last few months, like 3 months or so. Anyways, the quality of these eyeshadows are amazing. I think that somewhere along the line, Too Faced kind of lost their formulation and just sucked for a while. They were putting out product, eyeshadow palettes that weren't up to par with the rest of their line. It's in the chocolate bar series, and I feel like it definitely fits there because I love the chocolate bar series. The quality is amazing, and I don't think that this one skips a beat. I think this is right up on par with everything else. This one retails for I think $49, and I don't think that that is ridiculous, honestly. If you're paying for a high-end eyeshadow palette, that's kind of the roundabout price. I think this one is amazing, and I would definitely recommend it, but you probably are going to need a sister palette to pair it with, just because there are only 4 mattes and only 2 of them are really workable crease shades. I feel like you're going to definitely need another palette, but this is not a palette meant to be on its own, I don't think. But I definitely would say this is one of Too Faced's best products. Next, in front of me, I have the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, and this palette took me forever and a year to get my hands on, and I love it. The quality, I feel, is up there within the chocolate bar series. I think that this is one of the ones that definitely belong in that category. I just think that this is a great palette, and for the price, it's right up there. I'm pretty sure this one's $49 again, but it's that same quality from the chocolate series. I think it's just, the formula is amazing, and the pigmentation and the blendability is just great, and I think that this is a palette that is definitely part of their best. So this one is the Chocolate Bonbons palette, and this is one of my lesser used palettes in the Too Faced series, I think. I don't know why. It's a good palette. I loved it. Especially when it came out, I loved it. I wore it all the time. Especially this shade right here, Molasses Chip. That was my jam. But I think that this palette is, it's a little, I think the packaging's cute, although it is a little bit on the childish side. It just kind of looks like a Polly Pocket eyeshadow palette to me, like if it would be life size for a Polly Pocket. That's what I get, like, with all the little hearts in it. But if that doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother me because the quality is good and the eyeshadows work very well. So in that regard, I don't really care about the packaging, although I love the outside packaging. I just think that the inside looks a little childish. The pinks in here turned me off from this at first because I don't really wear a lot of color on my eyes, and I just felt like I wouldn't wear that, but there's so many other colors in this palette that you can use without using the pinks, but it actually kind of got me out of my comfort zone and made me start wearing a little bit more color, and now I'm a little bit more apt to wear color than I was before I got this palette. So I'm pretty sure that this is the one that got me to kind of venture out into color. I really like this palette, and it's kind of fallen to the wayside because everything that comes out is so new and you just get hyped up and you want everything new. But I think that this is a good palette, and I should keep it out and use it more because it's not a bad palette at all, and I think that this is on par with all the other chocolate series because this is part of the chocolate series too, and I think it's on par with the rest of them. Next, I have the Too Faced Chocolate Bar. This is the original palette, and this is what it looks like. I still have the sleeve in here. This is just a great neutral palette, and I probably mentioned this palette way too many times. I just think this is a great palette. It's a good go-to. It's got your warm neutrals in here, and it's got a pop or 2 of color, and they're very wearable pops of color, which is what I love about it. And I just think that this is a great quality palette, and this was kind of the palette that sent me off the edge with Too Faced, and this is the palette that got me into the whole brand and made me fall in love with eyeshadow palettes. This wasn't the first palette I ever got, but it is definitely one that I continue to reach for because it's so great, and I think that this is a good palette to go to if you're looking for neutrals. So definite for me. Next we have the Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar, and this is the more cooler tone of the original. This one has, again, a few pops of color, but they're wearable pops of color. And I just feel like, you know, I love the fact that with these palettes, they give you a large size of these shades that you're going to use the most. The ones that you set your whole eyelid with, or the ones that you highlight with every time. And those always go the fastest in any palette. So I love that they made that into where, you know, that's the biggest shade in the palette. I think that's great, and it's definitely useful. They're all great, and I definitely recommend these. So this is the best of Too Faced for sure. This is the Too Faced Stardust palette, and this was in collaboration with Vegas Nay, and this has been, it's been a minute since this came out, so this isn't available anymore. But this is what it looks like, and it's definitely one of those palettes that I think was overlooked when it came out, but I think that this palette is really, really great, honestly, and I don't think anyone talks about it, so this definitely goes in the best of. Now, moving on to their 9-pan palettes, this is the Too Faced Natural Eyes palette, and this is what it looks like. It's just a great neutral palette, and it's just pocket-sized. I mean, it's amazing. I love this palette. I travel with it all the time, and this is actually the palette that I used on my wedding day, and so for that reason it has a special meaning to me. I just love this palette. It's so easy to create just an everyday look with it. I swear, you can say that about any palette. I hate saying that. Scratch that. You know, obviously you can create an everyday look with it, or you can glam it up. Anybody could use these palettes. They're just so easy, and I definitely love this one. Kind of the same thing as the Natural Eyes palette is the Natural Matte palette. This is another 9-pan palette, and it is just an all matte version of the one that I just mentioned. I love this palette, and I feel like these mattes are really great, but I definitely recommend this one. I love it. Okay, another 9-pan palette from Too Faced is the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. I love this palette. I think this is one of the cutest palettes ever. I just love the colors in here. The shade selection, there's so many warm toned colors, and obviously, if you haven't been listening, I kind of am a fan of those. It is such an easy palette to wear with having color in it. I think that it's the easiest to incorporate color with. You can have a warm toned eye with a pop of purple, and it's so pretty, and I love this palette. It definitely is in the best for me. This is the Love Flush Blush Wardrobe, I think. Yeah, this is all of the Love Flush blushes that Too Faced has. There's 6 of them, and I love all of the shades. I think that these are some of the best high-end blushes on the market. They last so long. They are supposed to be 16-hour wearing, and honestly, I don't know what it is, but with me, blush is like the first thing to leave my face. I can put it on and, you know, 30 minutes later, I swear it's not there. It doesn't even look like I'm wearing blush right now because it just disappears on my skin, and I don't know why, but I literally applied blush like an hour ago, and I don't know, like it's just gone. I don't get that, but this blush, it stays on my face. Obviously this is what I'm wearing now because it's not on my face, but this blush I feel like really lives up to that long wearing aspect, and it might not be 16 hours, but honestly I don't think I wear my makeup 16 hours, so I'm not going to test that, but I feel like it does last longer than a traditional blush. I feel like they tend to stay a lot longer than other blushes. Definitely a best for me. Another in the best of category for me is the Sweethearts bronzer, and this is in the shade Sweet Tea. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I literally bought this bronzer because of the name, because it is called Sweet Tea, and I live in the South, and honestly don't go very long without drinking sweet tea, so I felt like I needed to have it. But anyways, this is what it looks like. It's got a darker bronzer on one side and then a lighter one, and then you kind of swirl them together, and I just feel like it is the most perfect blush. There's a little bit of sheen to it, but it's not a shimmer, and that's what I love about it. It's not overwhelmingly cool toned, it's not overwhelmingly warm toned. It is a very, very good bronzer for my skin tone because it looks like it could be a contour, but it's not a contour because it's not that ashy. I love this bronzer, and I think it is honestly one of my favorite bronzers of all time. Definitely in the best of for me. The Melted Liquid Lips, they're not a liquid lip, but they're a liquefied lipstick. So they don't dry matte, but they are very, very pigmented, and they stay for a long time. So it's kind of like a gloss, but they're so pretty, and I love these. And I think that they were unique when they came out. They were kind of the first of their kind, and they're so pigmented. It's like a gloss, but it stays like a lipstick. And I just think that these are some of the best little things on the market. I have a lot of colors, but I don't know where they went. Anyway, I love these, and I think that they're pretty unique. They have so many different colors of these, and I think that they're really great. The Too Faced Shadow Insurance, I feel like you don't need a specific eyeshadow primer. You could just use your concealer, but if you're going to use one, this is one of my favorites. I feel like it keeps my eyeshadow on all day. I've never experienced any creasing with my eyeshadow using this, and I just feel like it helps the longevity of my eyeshadow, and it helps it to stick. You could get that with a concealer, but if you are looking for an actual eyeshadow primer, this is the one I would say. But I love the Too Faced Shadow Insurance, and I definitely recommend it. Another best of is the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. Now this is the waterproof version. I don't really like waterproof mascara, so I definitely recommend the non-waterproof version. I would say the best high-end mascara that there is. I definitely purchase it. If I'm going to buy a high-end mascara, it's going to be Better Than Sex. I can't say enough good things about it, and I definitely think it's in the best of. Okay, we're almost to the worst, but this product I wanted to kind of put in both categories. You'll understand why in a second, but this is the Little Black Book of Bronzers, and it is basically all of the bronzers that they have. I would say that this is half the best and half the worst, just because I don't use them. I think that some of them are just a little bit too shimmery, but that's personal preference, so I don't like a shimmery bronzer. I'm more of a matte bronzer kind of girl, to slight sheen, and I don't like a lot of sparkle in my bronzer, so for that I would say that this is half in the best and half in the worst, but again, that's personal preference. So if you like shimmery stuff, maybe this would be in the best for you. Now moving on to the worst, and I don't want to be too harsh, but I'm just gonna do it. So I already talked about these in my YouTube Made Me Buy It video. So the Born This Way foundation and concealer, I've talked about this. I hate these, and it's really sad to say because I really wanted to love this foundation, but it just didn't work for me. It made me look terrible, like sunk in all of my lines, made me look 10 times older. And the same thing with the concealer. I couldn't set it, it kept creasing, and I just feel like that is not what I'm looking for when I'm looking for a foundation and concealer. Like, I want it to work with me and not set into my lines, and I just felt like this was a total bust, and this is definitely in the worst of for me. Next is the Too Faced Power of Makeup. This was in collaboration with Nikki Tutorials. Okay, so at first I loved this palette, but the more that I played with it, the more I didn't like it. I felt like you had to build the color up so much to even be able to see it. The only color that I really liked is this color here, which is Irresistible, and it's just a gold. It's a typical gold. I can find that in 90% of the other palettes that I have. I just felt like this was, you know, not up to par with the rest of their products. Quality-wise, the eyeshadows aren't what I wanted them to be. I don't use it, and I wish I didn't buy it, but you can't get this anymore anyway, so you don't even have to worry about saving your money. So another in the worst category is the Sweet Peach Glow. And this is a highlighting palette, but it is a blush bronzer highlight. I really wanted to love this. I did, because I'm obsessed with the peach palette. So the blush I felt like didn't really work for me. I kept building it up and it just wouldn't show up on my skin. I don't mind the bronzer, but I really don't reach for it because I don't like the other products in here. And then the highlight, I just felt like it wasn't like my favorite. And so for that, it kind of fell to the wayside, and I don't really like it that much. So this is the Too Faced, Totally Cute palette. As you can see, this is untouched. I used it one time, and I used the matte row of neutrals. I feel like you can't make a cohesive look out of this palette, and I just felt like it was not a very well thought out palette. And secondly, it's so cheap to me. I feel like it's such a kiddie product. The packaging is cute here, but it came with stickers to stick all over it, and I just felt like that was so juvenile, and I don't know, I just felt like it was kind of stupid to put with a palette. I don't use it, so in that regard, it's in my worst of. And lastly, we have the White Chocolate palette, and I hate to do this because I love everything else in the chocolate series, but this one I love the colors in here, but there's something about this palette, it's not the same. It's not the same quality, it's not the same formula, they don't blend the same. I just felt like they skipped on this one because it's not the same as the rest of the series. And for that, it's in the bottom, and I hate that because I had to have the whole series, obviously. And so this completes it, but I don't use it because it's not up to par with the rest of the series. This is in the bottom. So that is it for this video. Sorry it took so long. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and always remember to stay trendy. I'm gonna stop saying Too Faced because that's everything in this video. That was irrelevant, but you know, whatever. Mumford, can you get out of my shot, please? No, don't eat my eyeliner, please. I literally bought this brush,
Why are you bringing me down? Don't bring me down!
He's gonna do it twice, 3 So this is all of the Love Flush brushes.